My boss got the email, he forwarded it to me, and he's like, do you want to do this? And I thought, well, I guess I was kind of the right guy that was chosen to do this thing, I guess. But maybe it was like a joke or something. Maybe it was like a psyop on me or something. I don't even know.
Do you want a chocolate?
Multiple sources.
Sources.
Multiple sources.
3 sources.
Credible sources.
3 sources.
Credible sources.
Multiple sources.
Sources. Multiple sources.
3 sources.
Credible sources.
3 sources.
Credible sources.
Fighter jets were deployed.
Multiple sources.
Fighter jets were deployed. Sources. I've heard it now from 3 different people.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing.
I've heard it now from 3 different people.
Yeah, I've heard the same thing. The lack of information, the lack of information, the lack of information.
This is an ongoing mystery.
Multiple sources.
This is an ongoing mystery.
Multiple sources.
Intelligence sources.
This is an ongoing mystery.
Multiple sources.
This is an ongoing mystery.
Multiple sources.
Intelligence sources.
The lack of information, 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 the lack of information,
Multiple sources. Multiple sources.
3 sources.
Credible sources.
3 sources.
Credible sources. Multiple sources. Multiple sources.
3 sources.
Credible sources.
3 sources.
Credible sources.
This is an ongoing mystery.
Multiple sources.
This is an ongoing mystery.
Multiple sources.
Intelligence sources.
This is an ongoing mystery.
Multiple sources.
This is an ongoing mystery.
Multiple sources.
Intelligence sources.
Greetings and salutations, friends, and welcome back. I have had a wonderful weekend at the cabin and took a few days off of all of this madness, and I can't say that I regret it. During our break, we finally hit this magic number that so many other content creators told me. Things get easier after you hit that, Stephen, and that would be that we finally hit 10,000 subscribers. We've also began producing shorts, which has resulted in doubling our views here on the channel somehow. I don't understand it. Maybe people like those 1-minute quick clips. Whatever the case, we're going to keep producing those. So tonight, we're going to be getting into this Soul Foundation. And I thought an interesting tie-in with the Soul Foundation is this recent Netflix documentary. There's actually several, I think there's 3 or 4 documentaries about Rael and the Raelian cult. And it's interesting to me that there's so many parallels between the Raelian UFO cult and what Gary Nolan, David Grusch, and others have started, something called the Soul Foundation. But it looks strangely similar to the Raelian UFO cult. And nobody can, really deny that Rael from the Raelianism UFO cult shares many similar beliefs to these people, which I find that fascinating. It's fascinating to me that these people share the same belief systems in many cases. For example, both of these organizations believe that the Earth is being visited by extraterrestrials or interdimensionals or non-human intelligences. Both of these organizations are trying to collect money from the public in order to do that which their faith-based belief system in aliens visiting Earth requires them to do. Rael famously has collected hundreds of millions of dollars so far, it has been reported, to create a landing pad for the aliens when they come to visit. I think it's in 2035 now, they've pushed that back to. but they've collected over $100 million. Rael did. This man, Rael, leads an extravagant millionaire's lifestyle, private planes, expensive homes and hotels, all the best for dear leader of the UFO cult. And isn't it interesting how many parallels there are between the Raelian UFO cult and Gary Nolan's and David Grusch's Soul Foundation? It's uncanny the amount of things that both these groups believe in. And yet, somehow, I suppose, because Gary Nolan is a Stanford professor, the Soul Foundation wants to, be considered a legitimate, credible organization. And, I suppose they're going to be able to do that by pretending that they have credible scientists in their group. They don't. They have wackadoos. There, I said it. Gary Nolan is a wackadoo. He's not a reputable scientist. He is a scientist, but he's a wackadoo of a scientist. Recently claiming that Neil deGrasse Tyson should have his PhD stripped from him. And what was Neil deGrasse Tyson's sin? Not believing in Gary Nolan's UFO cult belief system. So isn't it interesting that this man, Gary Nolan, literally wants people stripped of their PhDs who don't agree with his wackadoo beliefs? I think that's interesting. It's just incredible to me that the, believer-brained UFO people don't see that there is virtually no difference between the Soul Foundation's belief systems and the Raelianism UFO cult. Now, of course, when you get into specifics, Rael made a lot of the same claims that Gary Nolan made. Gary Nolan claims that he was abducted by aliens or interacted with some kind of non-human intelligence. So does Rael. Rael goes a little bit further. He went on a spaceship to the home world of his aliens, which he calls the Elohim, which conveniently the Elohim are mentioned in the Bible. And Rael also later claimed to be like the brother of Jesus and Earth's greatest prophet. But I really don't think it's going to be too long before some of these Soul Foundation people are making equally wackadoo claims. And again, they like to give this appearance that they're credible because they have several academics and scientists with them. But I'm here to tell you, there are wackadoos in all walks of life. We have seen this. There are wackadoos that are high-ranking U.S. military intelligence officers, and they're wackadoos. There are wackadoos that are in the Air Force, in the Army, in the government, who work in the Pentagon. There are wackadoos right now working in the Pentagon. So it's no surprise to me that Gary Nolan was able to find some wackadoo scientists and wackadoo academics. Also, not coincidentally, several of those people that are all part of his organization are all UFO profiteering people. I was going to use the W word, ladies of the night, that word rhymes with more. That's what those people are. They all have something to sell you. Diana Pasulka, Avi Loeb, Gary Nolan, Dave Grusch. And by the way, while we're on that subject, we've reached another stupendous part of our long-running countdown here about David Grusch. And, the excuses for the lack of evidence by Mr. Grusch, all you true believers, all the excuses are falling apart. Because no one can show me any other whistleblower in the history of everything that ever waited 253 days after making his claims before showing the evidence and proving his claims are true and factual and accurate. But isn't it funny that hundreds of thousands of dollars has been generated by Dave Grusch and his buddies helping him tell his stories? Hundreds of thousands of dollars has been generated. All from evidence-free, trust me, bro stories. And it's very interesting to me. Who was it? The Average Chris on Twitter just pointed out today, we were talking in messages, if The Soul Foundation has this person, David Grusch. He was their chief operating officer. Now they've scaled his role back to be some kind of senior advisor, because I think that the heat is getting too hot for Dave Grusch, and he didn't want to. I don't know. Did he not want to be the chief operating officer? Lots of things changing at the Soul Foundation. Also, Dave Grusch's lawyer erased from the website. And Dave Grusch's role changed from chief operating officer to the role of a senior advisor and founder. So all of these people in the Soul Foundation all have wackadoo beliefs. And many of them are the same group of people that have been fooling Congress members and senators into enacting legislation that supports their alien belief systems. And here's another thing. Dave Grusch's excuses are all falling apart. We're at 253 days. So no, you true believing dummies, don't tell me he gave the evidence of the aliens to the Inspector General of the intelligence community. It's been 253 days. And by the way, in a few short months, it's going to be 2 years since Dave Grusch made his initial complaints of retaliation made against him to the intelligence community Inspector General. In a few short months, it's going to be a year of Dave Grusch making these claims in public and in front of Congress. And in a few short months, it will be 2 years since he filed his original complaint with the Intelligence Community Inspector General. So, it's very simple. Where's the proof of his claims? Or are people like me and Stephen Greenstreet and several others who have pointed out that Dave Grusch is involved with the same group of people who have been deceiving everybody since at least 2016. He's involved with Leslie Kean, Ralph Blumenthal. He's involved with Gary Nolan. And, Christopher Mellon is also part of the Soul Foundation. So these are all the people that have been deceiving us and selling us fake stories and lies for years and years and years. So part of me, if I'm skeptical of a guy who for 253 days has been crying aliens and not showing us anything, you would be stupid not to be skeptical of this man. How many more days are we going to wait? Even you true believers, how many more days are you going to wait until you have to admit he has no evidence? What he has is stories told to him by the same group of people that told us those last stories that all turned out to be evidence-free or fake, right? Hal Puthoff, Jacques Vallée, Gary Nolan, Lou Elizondo, Christopher Mellon, all the same people that lied to us, and many of which were part of the TTSA techno scam, or what has been described as a techno scam, in which they collected millions of dollars, made all kinds of promises, and never delivered on anything. Still waiting to see the spaceship. So at some point, even you true believers have to realize he's never going to show you any evidence. And here's another great point. Dave Grusch is a member of the Soul Foundation. Dave Grusch claims that he interviewed 40 firsthand witnesses to crash retrieval programs, to alien bodies, to spaceships in the possession of the United States government that are being back engineered. He makes a lot of claims. Where are those 40 witnesses? We've waited 253 days and not one of those witnesses of his has surfaced, except for we can confirm that one of his witnesses was wackadoo Eric Davis. You remember him, the guy with the fake Wilson notes, the guy who conducts crackpot research. That's according to the United States Air Force. They called his research crackpot research. In other words, Dave Grusch is getting all of this information from wackadoos that have all been involved with trying to fool the American public before for their own personal gain, benefit, or whatever. Or maybe they truly believe this stuff and they think they need to pressure the government to confirm their faith-based alien belief systems. But here's a very important point. If Dave Grusch is a member of the Soul Foundation and he has access to 40 firsthand witnesses, then why are they retreading old hoaxed fake UFO cases? Why are they recycling old fake UFO cases? Evidence-free, right? And oh boy, the claims that are being made. This object went this many thousands of miles an hour. This object went into the water and then came out, shot off at a tremendous rate of speed that no human craft on Earth could do. What's your proof for those claims? Trust me, bro. Trust me, bro, is a problem. You know, the Lou Elizondo lie that he ran a Pentagon UFO program for 10 years. That was a trust me, bro. That didn't work out. Gary Nolan's fake, completely and totally fake claims with Ross Coulthart that they had, quote, conclusive proof of alien technology, all confirmed by this man. Then cut to a shot of Michio Kaku. That was a trust me, bro story. That turned out to be completely and totally fake. Just like Lou Elizondo running a Pentagon UFO program was trust me, bro, and turned out to be fake. How many more? And then we've got Christopher Mellon, who stood there like an idiot on a stage while they showed a picture of a birthday, a 1-year-old birthday balloon, and said that it was a spaceship or an off-world vehicle or whatever he said. These people are not to be trusted, and I'm just laughing at all of you people. It's great too. It seems like for a long time now there's been this game of ping pong, this back and forth, you know, and the skeptical side will make tremendous advances towards showing people that these people are lying scumbags and grifters. They're not here for disclosure. Most of them are here to fill their pockets with money. Now, I get the argument, well, Christopher Mellon, he's a billionaire. He doesn't need money. Well, great. There's one, there's always going to be exceptions to the rule. But look at the rest of these people. Gary Nolan, how many documentaries did he get paid for whoring out the labs of Stanford University to help UFO grifters, right? How much money did you get paid, Gary Nolan? How much money did the Soul Foundation collect so far? But here's the good news. It's a nonprofit organization. So eventually they're going to have to file paperwork with the IRS, and we're going to all get to see how much money they collected and what they did with it. Can't wait to see this. And, you know, I have no problem, I guess, with somebody starting a nonprofit if they're doing, some sort of public benefit. But if all you're doing is getting together with your UFO pals and circle jerking each other off, and by the way, these videos from this conference, that was a closed door invitation only conference. It wasn't open to the public. So where's the public benefit? You're only allowed to go if you're on the believer side of things. You're not allowed to be there and hear these speeches from these wackadoos if you're a critical voice or a skeptical voice. What if I want to go to a Soul Foundation event and just sit there quietly and respectfully and take notes, but then come back here and report what a bunch of wackadoos these people are? I'm not allowed to do that? This shows you this is cult-like behavior. They have to control the narrative. They have to control the information. They have to limit skepticism and skeptical people from even being allowed anywhere near their events. There wasn't one skeptical person in that whole auditorium. It was all filled with these wackadoos friends that they knew would lap this shit up and accept the garbage that they're pushing. And we're going to get into all of it. But before we do, I do want to talk about one other thing that's important. I have it here on my notes, and that is the false talking points about David Grusch fall away when you consider the Raelian cult. Since Dave Grusch and me being very critical of him, many people have come to me and sent me messages or whatever and said, Stephen, he has to be telling the truth or he'd go to prison. First of all, no, he wouldn't. Go check when the last time somebody who clearly lied to Congress, and I mean clearly and definitively and provably lied to Congress, was actually prosecuted for it. It almost never happens. And secondly, all he has to do is say, I was told these things and I believed the people and I was repeating what I was told. Then he's not lying. Get out of jail free card. But the other thing that people keep saying to me is, Stephen, it can't be all fake, because if it was all fake, Congress could care less. They wouldn't entertain this. Congress wouldn't give them a congressional hearing if this was all fake. Well, let's go talk about the Raelian cult, who literally testified under oath before Congress that they had cloned a human baby. And guess what? They did so under oath. They made those outrageous, out of this world, completely, by the way, evidence-free claims. the Raelian cult and their chief scientist, who's heavily involved in that cult, stood in front of Congress under oath and claimed that they cloned a human baby. Now, once again, ask yourself, is there a precedent for Congress entertaining completely and totally fake claims made by wackadoos? Well, we can look to the example of the Raelian cult. Again, the Raelian cult claimed that they had cloned a human baby. They stood there, several members of that cult stood there under oath and made those out of this world claims. By the way, evidence-free claims. So when people tell me there has to be something to this, Stephen, or they wouldn't have let Dave Grusch testify before Congress. Well, there's your answer. Congress let a bunch of UFO wackadoos claim that they were cloning humans with no evidence, no proof, no corroboration, and they let this UFO cult testify before them and make these outrageous claims. So what we see is that Congress has done this before. Let somebody come in, testify before Congress under oath and make fantastic claims. How is that any different from what Dave Grusch did? Dave Grusch has never proven his claims. By the way, the Raelian cult, not only did they never prove their claims, but a whistleblower from the cult who was heavily involved in their organization that was dedicated to the practice of human cloning called Clonaid, he came out publicly and said they didn't clone anything. They were nowhere near the level of sophistication or even laboratory equipment required to actually clone a human baby. They just made it up. They just made it up. Completely and totally 100% false claims made before Congress by UFO wackadoos. Fast forward to 2023, and Dave Grusch and his group of UFO wackadoos stands there before Congress, largely with zero evidence, and makes out of this world fantastic claims about alien bodies, alien crash retrievals, non-human entities, the government's in possession of spacecraft, and all this other stuff. Evidence-free claims, exactly like the Raelian cult did. Now, the Raelian cult did this for publicity. Is it so outside of, the realm of believability that maybe somebody knew that they could go there and make evidence-free claims, kind of like that other UFO cult did, and generate huge amounts of publicity for themselves? The Raelian cult founder, this Claude person, bragged in this recent Netflix documentary that they got $600 million worth of worldwide publicity by testifying before Congress and making the claims about cloning human babies when it was completely and totally a false claim. And again, the evidence supports that. They never cloned anything, period, full stop. So maybe, just maybe, what I have been saying since the beginning of the Dave Grusch story is correct, that a group of scumbag, UFO profiteering whores and grifters manipulated this once mentally ill and also he's neurodivergent. He's autistic. Maybe, just maybe, people manipulated him and pushed him into that congressional hearing so that they could get publicity, worldwide publicity from it. And guess what? It worked. In both the case of the Raelian UFO cult and the case of the Dave Grusch UFO cult, it worked. Huge amounts of publicity, thereby generating hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars of monetized views for everybody pushing the Dave Grusch story. And, it seems crazy to me that somebody would argue with, oh, they wouldn't do that just for publicity. Well, we've got a perfect example. The Raelian cult admitted they did it all for publicity. They made up fake claims. And by the way, I'm not saying that Dave Grusch is making up fake claims, but I am saying it's been 253 days since he made his initial claims, and he still has not provided a single shred of evidence. You know what else he hasn't done? Named the 40 so-called whistleblowers. And everybody's throwing around that term whistleblower. No, I don't care about your technical or your legal definition of the term or word whistleblower. If you're a whistleblower, you have evidence. You don't just make either you're a whistleblower who has evidence, or you're a storyteller who has no evidence. So far, Dave Grusch is not a whistleblower. He is a storyteller who has provided zero evidence for 253 days now. So there's interesting parallels between this Raelian UFO cult and the current UFO cult with Gary Nolan and Dave Grusch and this Soul Foundation and Christopher Mellon and all these other people who've been lying to us for years. I highly encourage you. It's on Netflix. Just search for Rael, Rael. You'll find it. I think it's a 4-part series. I watched all 4 parts of it. Now, I get it. People are already attacking me. Oh, it's not the same thing, Stephen. Okay, well, maybe the Soul Foundation doesn't have a charismatic leader that's banging all of the initiates yet. Notice I said yet. Yeah, there's some differences for sure. But there's also an awful lot of similarities. And for anybody to deny that, then you're denying actual reality. If you deny that the Raelian cult and this Soul Foundation, first of all, have very similar belief systems, and second of all, are very similar in many aspects. If you deny that, then you're denying reality. And I can't help you. So we're going to get into this. I'm going to put my fair use banner up. We're going to be getting into... Oh, and by the way, here's another thing. If Dave Grusch knows where 40 firsthand witnesses are, why are they retreading the same old fake UFO cases and hoaxes in Soul Foundation? Evidence-free stories, trust me, bro stories, proven hoaxes. That's what people are pushing at this event. Why would you do that if your chief operating officer has access to 40 firsthand witnesses of alien technology on Earth? And why won't Dave Grusch name any of those 40 people? Could it be because people like Stephen Greenstreet and myself are correct? All those 40 people are wackadoos we're all familiar with. Hal Puthoff, Jacques Vallée, Gary Nolan, Lou Elizondo, the same group of people who deceived the New York Times, the same group of people who have been pushing this false narrative and filling their pockets with every dollar they can since 2017. I think it's very clear that he can't name any of his so-called witnesses, because then everybody would be able to put 2 and 2 together and go, oh, he talked to all the other wackadoos that have been saying this shit. And by the way, never proving it for years, or in some cases, decades. It's remarkable to me that people will still defend Grusch and still, claim that the evidence is coming, or they're still investigating. It's been almost 2 years since he filed his initial complaint with the Intelligence Community Inspector General. I mean, I know the government moves slow, but guess what? That's another issue. People keep telling me he gave all that evidence to the Inspector General of the intelligence community. Well, there's statements from the Inspector General saying he's not investigating aliens, alien bodies, or any of the claims being made. All they're investigating is the claims of retaliation against him and the claims of waste, fraud, and abuse, because that is what the intelligence community's job is. It's not his job to go vetting somebody's claims of alien bodies, and he's not doing that. There's on-the-record statements proving the Intelligence Community Inspector General isn't investigating shit that Dave Grusch said about aliens. Full stop. And you can say whatever you want. That's the correct and true analysis of what's going on. So all of these excuses for why Dave Grusch can't, it's classified. No, it's not. Because DOPSR, the Pentagon's Department of Pre-Publication, cleared him to talk about alien bodies, alien spaceships, alien biologics, alien crash retrievals. All of that is not classified. If it was classified, he wouldn't have been allowed to even mention those things if they were part of classified projects. He was cleared, meaning none of that stuff is classified. So what are the other excuses for Dave Grusch not providing any evidence so far? Oh, he gave it to the Intelligence Community Inspector General. That one falls apart. Oh, it's classified. That excuse falls apart. Why can't he name these witnesses? Why can't we hear from the firsthand witnesses? Was that a big bluff? Oh, we've got 40 firsthand witnesses, whistleblowers, and they're all coming forward. Where are they at? It's been 253 days. Do they even exist? Or are these 40 people all the people that we already are aware of, right? People like Lou Elizondo and Christopher Mellon and Gary Nolan and Avi Loeb and all the same group of UFO circle-jerking, UFO profiteering whores that have been collecting every dollar they can out of this thing for years now, right? Pardon me if I'm a little bit cynical. We want to thank High Speed Chase for a kind and generous $2 super chat. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support, and also being a member. Says these two wackadoos look like Wookiee spankers. I agree. They're definitely Wookiee spankers. Another kind and generous $2. Thank you, High Speed Chase. We appreciate your kindness, generosity, and support. It is much, much appreciated. And we thank everybody who is helping us. We are a public benefit, unlike the Soul Foundation. Who are they benefiting? Their fellow UFO wackadoos. But thank you, High Speed Chase, for helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash, cash. Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash, cash. Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash, cash.
Praise the cash, bitches. All right. So we're going to thank you, High Speed Chase. We're going to get into, I thought that we would begin. I'm going to put my fair use banner up here. This is transformative work. We're educating the public. By the way, we want to welcome all you new subscribers. We've got a huge couple hundred since we hit that 10,000 number. Then we got a couple hundred more. So thank you all for your kindness, generosity, and smashing that subscribe button. It really does help. Welcome to all our new subscribers. And I want to thank each and every one of you who hit that subscribe button to help us on our journey. It really means a lot to me. People believe in the show and want to see it continue. I'm thankful for all the help. So this is fair use. Somebody did an excellent sort of breakdown of the Raelian cult. I thought we would sample some of that. And isn't it interesting that both these UFO cults were able to fool Congress into letting them testify and getting huge amounts of publicity from the media blitz surrounding the claims that they made in front of Congress.
That's when Rael started telling its followers that they had to protest, even if it meant dying for the cause in the process. Furthermore, they started accusing the church of harboring pedophiles, which was a defense, but it did not exonerate the Raelians. It became a difficult time for the Raelians, who started getting targeted. Many lost their jobs, apartments, etc. Of course, there were death threats. Rael then left France and came to Quebec. Here, there was none of the anti-cult environment. There was no negativity, at least as far as Raelians were concerned.
Yes, so as soon as the heat's on, the Raelian cult moves from country to country. They had some heat on them, specifically related to stupid comments this idiot made about touching children that got him in some hot water in France.
And the Canadians could not care less about what the Raelians were doing in their backyard. In fact, they even recognized Raelism as a new religion without endorsing the values of the religion, of course. In North America, Raelism became revitalized and organized. So did Rael. A UFO land was created, something like a theme park that served as a recruitment center for new Raelians. The park became more and more...
UFO land, isn't that awesome? I think it's awesome. And, you know, this whole cult leader, you know, you can easily just take this guy's head off and put Grusch's head on there, and it's very similar to what's happening on UFO Twitter. The hero worship, right?
More popular, and so did the religion. Then Dolly the sheep was cloned, and cloning became more popular amongst the Raelians, who wanted to live forever by cloning each other. Naturally, Rael was spearheading it. Brigitte Bosselia was appointed to handle the scientific side, and she was determined to do so.
And there's more. That's proof as well that even in the cases of even in science, you're going to find wackadoos that have wackadoo weird belief systems. This person was an accomplished chemist that became sort of like the head of science and technology for this Raelian UFO cult. And she was, before her time with the cult, a respected chemist and scientist. So, no, Soul Foundation, you don't get to claim credibility just because you have some science people in your organization. Because there's wackadoos everywhere, including in the land of science. Yes, indeed, there are wackadoos. I said it. I think it's interesting that, that this Raelian movement was sort of a science fiction. It had a lot of similarities to Scientology as well.
The American Dream. On May 31, 1997, a feature in New Scientist revealed that the international Raelian movement was getting into human cloning by launching a company dedicated to its research and development. This announcement stirred unease among bioethicists who called for legislative action to regulate human cloning. At this time,
Yeah, I don't know if you remember this, but there was a huge battle in the United States over human cloning. And the Raelian movement, this UFO cult, was largely responsible for it because they basically said, we're going to clone humans. And so there was a race that we have to hurry up and pass some kind of laws against human cloning in the United States.
countries like Britain had already prohibited human cloning, the United States was operating under a moratorium that only restricted the use of federal funds for such research. In response, U.S. President Bill Clinton urged private entities to voluntarily adopt a similar moratorium. However, Rael contested the notion that cloning technology posed inherent risks. By June 15, 1998, Brigitte Boisselier disclosed that Clonaid, the company initiated by the Raelian movement for cloning research, was based in Las Vegas but was struggling with insufficient funding for its ambitious goals.
Yeah, and by the way, what does it cost to have the equipment and all of that to clone a human being? Well, even to clone, a sheep, it's like a lot of money.
Later on, December 19, 1998, New Scientist reported that Clonaid had set the price for its cloning services at $200,000, a figure significantly lower than $2.3 million budgeted by Texas A&M University researchers for cloning a dog named Missy. So
it cost $2.3 million to clone a dog. This UFO cult was telling people that they could clone your dead baby, or I think they even got into dead pets. They were going to clone people's dead pets for $200,000. And, that old saying, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is, applies here. They did not have the sufficient technology. They did not have the sufficient personnel even. And one of the whistleblowers in the cult, blew the whistle after they made all these huge claims of cloning a baby. He said, no way. They didn't clone anything. It was just a made-up story to get publicity for the cult.
The project's ultimate goal of human cloning, mainstream scientists remained skeptical about Clonaid's capability to achieve any cloning success in the foreseeable future. Boisselier indicated that pet cloning was intended as a means to support their broader cloning goals. On June 9, 1997, Clonaid announced its plan to enable homosexual and infertile couples to have children genetically identical to themselves. Now, this presented a path to achieve...
Look at this. This is a press conference. And look at all the members... These are members of the press that showed up to get the story. So, making fantastic claims with no evidence, it's easy to see that the media can be manipulated very easily with fantastical claims with no evidence. And exactly what happened in the case of Dave Grusch. He made all these fantastic claims with absolutely no evidence whatsoever of his claims. Same goes for the Raelian movement. They made all these claims, got all this media attention. They had no proof of anything.
Achieve a form of immortality, and Rael would say stuff like, if you don't want to get yourself cloned, you're welcome to die. This announcement was made online. During the announcement, there was the Raelian leader alongside a consortium of investors established Valiant Venture Limited in the Bahamas to undertake this mission under the project named Clonaid, eyeing a market of 1 million potential clients. In a significant development on September 21, 2000,
I don't know about you, but I don't think I would trust this guy. Look at him. Would you trust this guy with out of this world claims that has no evidence?
Rael held a press conference in a Montreal hotel where he disclosed that a wealthy American couple had offered to finance Clonaid. The couple sought to clone their 10-month-old daughter who had tragically passed away due to a medical error and offered $1.5 million for the procedure. However, the mother was not prepared to act as a surrogate for the clone, so they had to find new surrogates, and among these was the daughter of Brigitte.
Yeah, that's interesting. So they just go to the cult and say, listen, we're going to need some of you to carry some of these clone babies. And isn't it interesting that they had more volunteers than they needed that were going to offer to be surrogate mothers? and carry these cloned babies to term for their wealthy clients.
Experts including Jamie Grifo from the New York University School of Medicine and Nobel laureate Paul Berg from Stanford University criticized Rael's promise, arguing it offered false hope by suggesting the cloned child would be the same as the deceased one. Brigitte Bossier mentioned the involvement of 4 scientists, a biochemist, a geneticist, a cell fusion expert, and a French medical doctor. In the project, though, she kept their identities and that of the American couple confidential.
Yeah, and isn't that interesting? We have all of these very prestigious scientists, and they're going to work on this project with us, but we can't tell you their names. We can't tell you who they are. Kind of like Dave Grusch. Oh, I know all these firsthand witnesses that saw the alien bodies and the alien technology. Great. What are their names? Oh, I can't tell you. Again, an awful lot of parallels between this Raelian UFO cult and the Dave Grusch UFO cult.
In early 2001, the Food and Drug Administration's Office of Criminal Investigations conducted a thorough inspection of Clonaid's laboratory situated in Nitro, West Virginia. This lab was housed in a rented space within an old high school. The review by FDA scientists concluded that the lab's research primarily focused on extracting ovum from cow ovaries obtained from a slaughterhouse was subpar, likening it to the work of a graduate student. However, they noted that the lab was equipped with cutting-edge technology funded by Mark Hunt, a former state legislator from West Virginia. Hunt had a personal stake in the cloning as he aimed to clone his son Andrew, who passed away in 1999 from a congenital heart condition.
Yeah, so isn't that interesting? There's another wackadoo who happens to be a member of the state legislature. So there's wackadoos everywhere.
Following the inspection, Hunt agreed with the FDA not to pursue cloning his son within the U.S. In March 2001, Brigitte made an ambitious claim that a woman would be pregnant with a cloned fetus by April, stating that the cells had advanced to the blastocyst stage. However, she did not provide details on any specific implantation or pregnancy. By November...
Yeah, and a lack of details. Kind of like Dave Grusch's claims, right? Make fantastic, huge claims, out of this world claims, but then don't offer any actual evidence or proof, and be as vague as possible. Don't offer any specifics. This is exactly what Dave Grusch is doing right now, and make excuses if you get pressed for actual, evidence, proof, or specifics of your claims.
According to CNN, Clonaid's lab operations had moved outside the U.S., with Clonaid asserting it had achieved the development of human cloned embryos ahead of advanced cell technology. CNN was unable to verify these claims. Given Clonaid's ties to the Raelian movement and the absence of concrete evidence supporting their cloning achievements, authorities in the broader scientific community remained skeptical about Clonaid's capabilities in the field of cloning. On December 22nd...
Yeah, and that's another parallel. So wackadoo UFO people come forward and make wackadoo claims, but the majority of scientists remain skeptical of their claims. Why? Because they don't provide evidence of their claims. And this is exactly what we see happening with Dave Grusch. He's made a lot of claims. Go talk to a real mainstream scientist about, what do they believe about Dave Grusch's claims? They're going to remain skeptical until they see the empirical evidence. And so far, 253 days now, zero evidence.
2002, in Hollywood, Florida, Brigitte announced at a press conference the alleged successful birth of the first human clone named Eve, delivered via cesarean section outside the United States, with both mother and child reported as healthy. However, Bosselier did not provide any tangible evidence, such as DNA samples, to substantiate the cloning claim, nor was the mother or child present. It later became clear that the announcement was made without prior genetic verification, which only meant one thing. She was expressing belief in the success of her procedure rather than confirming the child's status as a clone. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration expressed its intention to investigate Clonaid for potential illegal activities, citing regulations that prohibit human cloning without explicit permission from the agency. This stance highlights...
Yeah, that's where it gets interesting. So then the government
the
gets
FDA's
involved.
regulatory authority over human cloning as ambiguous, which in turn prompted some U.S. Congress members to advocate for clear legislation that would outright ban human cloning. President George W. Bush expressed that human cloning troubled many Americans, and his voice resonated with the national sentiment. Sam Brownback, a Republican from Kansas, urged Congress to prohibit all forms of human cloning. The FDA's biotechnology chief, Dr. Phil Noguchi, highlighted the potential health risks associated with human cloning, including the transmission of sexually transmitted diseases to newborns. The White House...
Yeah, it's interesting too. There's something called genetic fading. So clones are, so far, the research on clones indicates that a cloned organism is very susceptible to problems because of genetic fading and all kinds of issues.
It's also voiced skepticism about Clonaid's claims. The Vatican criticized Clonaid's announcement for showing a callous and unethical mindset. The Christian Coalition of America called for a ban on human cloning, labeling the purported cloned baby as an anomaly. Meanwhile, Nadine Gary, the PR head for Clonaid, announced that Eve, the claimed cloned child, was taken home by her mother on December 30th, 2002. In response, Florida attorney Bernard Siegel.
Yeah, here's where it gets interesting. So then this attorney basically sues the cult on behalf of the child because he wants to make sure that the child is safe and, whatever. And that's where it gets interesting. Then members of the Raelian cult, under oath, still claim that this baby exists, but refuse to show any proof that the cloned baby actually exists.
Acted as a concerned citizen and petitioned the Broward County Circuit Court to appoint a temporary guardian for the alleged clone, suggesting a need for legal oversight. Clonaid's defense was managed by local attorneys Barry Wax and Jonathan Schwartz. Throughout the legal proceedings over the following month, Brigitte Beausoleil testified and claimed under oath the existence of a cloned child living outside the U.S. When forced to reveal the location, she said that the child was in Israel, despite these assertions. Clonaid failed to provide concrete evidence of the child's existence. However, she withheld details about the location of the surrogate birth, the lab where testing would occur, and the identity of the biological mother.
So she withheld details, kind of like Dave Grusch, just make huge claims and then withhold details. A lot of parallels here between this UFO cult and the Soul Foundation and Dave Grusch UFO cult.
Mother was described as a 31-year-old woman married to an infertile man. However, one of the scientists involved in the whole cloning thing revealed that it was all a hoax, a lie. Angels or sex slaves? In 2000,
it was all a hoax and a lie. Yeah, interesting. I don't know if there's a part in here. I guess there isn't. There isn't a part in here about. So after this, then the Raelian cult testified before Congress, still claiming that they had cloned a human baby. But those claims were never proven. And a whistleblower from the cult who left the cult blew the whistle. That was all a hoax. It was all fake. All of that was all just made up nonsense in order to get publicity for the cult and aid in their fundraising efforts. Gee, sounds awfully familiar, doesn't it? Somebody standing up before Congress and making huge, out of this world, fantastic claims with no evidence whatsoever, right? Sounds a little familiar to me. Oh, it should, because that's exactly what Dave Grusch did. Stood up in front of Congress and made huge claims with absolutely 100% zero evidence whatsoever. And again, we're at 253 days now so far, and still no evidence of Dave Grusch's claims, right? I wanted to check in. Yeah, and look, this is a perfect example. This is a perfect example of the hero worship that's going on UFO Twitter for those poor ontological shock victims, right? And Wise Monkey says, all hail at the collars of Lou in the Church of Melon. All will be revealed in around 14 days. Just check out Elder Sensei Corbell's podcast and Pastor Coltart's. Oh, it's so stupid. It's just so stupid, right? But what are you going to do? Like, people are worshiping these people, just like people in that Raelian cult worship Rael. They worship him like he's some big prophet, right? Very, very interesting. I want to find one of these other clips. So we're going to be getting into some clips from the Soul Foundation. But before we do that, I just wanted to give a shout out to the average Chris, because here's another fake story that's going around. You may have heard a story of, a UFO shooting beams at a weapon being tested. The Big Sur UFO turns out to be a completely and totally fake story. The Air Force obtained some unusual photography while experimenting with very sensitive optics equipment during ICBM launches on the West Coast nearly 30 years ago. 3 years ago, in an article titled Deliberate Deception, the Big Sur UFO Filming, Jacobs, one of the members of the experimental team, claimed that the objects observed were beyond normal technical explanation and implied that the government had been communicating with aliens from outer space. So, again, you know, the claims being made, UFO intercepted nuclear missile with laser beams. No. Completely and totally debunked in Skeptical Inquirer, Volume 17. That's a completely and totally fake story, which, again, leads me to ask, if Dave Grusch has 40 firsthand witnesses to aliens and UFOs in the possession of the United States government or spaceships being back engineered, why are they recycling old UFO hoaxes that have already been proven to be a fake story? If you had real smoking gun 40 people, 40 witnesses to aliens and UFOs on Earth, why are you trotting out old, stupid, proven hoaxes? Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you show us the 40 witnesses, right? I'm calling their bluff. Where's the 40 witnesses? You told us you had 40 witnesses 253 days ago. Where are they all at? All these people selling the Grusch story helped with that bluff. They all said it. We could find clips of all of them saying there's 40 witnesses that are going to be coming forward. When? Where are they at? So instead of trotting out 40 firsthand witnesses, instead of doing that, you're going to recycle the Big Sur fake UFO case that's been completely and totally smashed to bits, debunked as fake. It's so stupid. And to me, it's so transparent. These people have no evidence. If they really had 40 firsthand witnesses, wouldn't they be trotting them out like, all right, we'll do them one a week for 40 weeks. We'll bring about this catastrophic disclosure that we've been talking about. No, instead, we're going to retread old fake UFO stories that have been largely debunked as fake stories for years now. It tells you, it should inform you that these people have no real evidence. If they did, they wouldn't need to trot out fake old UFO stories. It's ridiculous. All right, so we're gonna get into the Soul Foundation, but before we do that, I'm already getting hate mail about my use of the term cult in relation to the Soul Foundation, and I just want to, look. It's my opinion that the Soul Foundation is a UFO cult. I'm entitled to my opinion, but it's an informed opinion based on the view of history of other UFO cults who share very similar belief systems to these people. By the way, you know what other UFO cult shares very similar belief systems to the Soul Foundation people? Heaven's Gate, right? So a cult is defined as a system of religious veneration or devotion directed towards a particular figure or object. A relatively small group of people having religious beliefs or practices regarded by others as strange or sinister. A misplaced or excessive admiration for a particular person or thing. Is that kind of like what's going on with Dave Grusch? You're not even allowed to criticize him, right? If you do, you get attacked, right? No. It fits the technical definition of a cult, the Soul Foundation does. So you stop sending me hate mail, you wackadoo, and take your goddamn meds. Some of you people, listen, I've said it before. If you need help, like if you're running out of meds halfway through the month, right, you bunch of psycho wackadoos, I'll help you. Message me. Maybe we could get you some medication so that you can calm down, right? I think so. And I think this Soul Foundation is certainly interesting, especially when we consider the group of lying scumbags that are in their organization. I love it. Lying scumbags, a whole bunch. And I love this too. You people getting your disclosure boners. And like I said at the beginning of the broadcast, isn't it interesting? So here's what's happening right now, in my opinion. The Soul Foundation released these videos because they don't have shit. They've been telling everybody that they have 40 firsthand witnesses to alien technology on Earth for a year almost now. And Dr. Kirkpatrick comes out and blows the whistle on them, saying it's a bunch of people telling stories, second and third hand retellings of old stories. Nobody has any evidence. Suddenly they know they're busted. They can't keep saying we have 40 whistleblowers because essentially Kirkpatrick showed they don't have shit. So now they're retreading old UFO stories that were fake when they came out the first time. They're still fake. It's great. But isn't it interesting that their bluff gets busted? That's what happened. Their bluff got busted. So now they're going to retread the same old UFO stories that have been debunked before. They were fake when they came out the first time. How many times have we? And by the way, there's a conflation of events too, because now you got people like who is the nut job with the lady. Anyway, you have people saying, I saw the film of the flying saucer shooting laser beams at the ICBM missile. Well, there was a recreation made. That's what people are seeing. They're seeing a recreation, a fake video made to support a documentary telling this fake story. And the story has been completely debunked. But hey, keep pushing this fake nonsense because you don't have real evidence. So we're going to just take a moment to recognize that the people on this Soul Foundation cult website are a bunch of wackadoos, and all of them are profiteering whores. Well, I'll say most of them. We've got Gary Nolan. We know all about him. He's the guy who lied with Ross Coulthart and said that they had conclusive proof of alien technology, all confirmed by Michio Kaku, when they didn't have shit. Where's the analysis? Where's the analysis, Gary Nolan? Oh, that's right. You bluffed. These people bluff all the time. The 40 whistleblowers that are going to be coming forward, that's a bluff. We have conclusive proof of alien technology, all confirmed by Michio Kaku. That's a bluff. Or how about Ross Coulthart? I know the location of a giant alien spaceship on Earth, and it's so big that they couldn't move it, so they had to build a building around it. That's a bluff too. Ross Coulthart is right now bluffing that he's talking to people that were part of these UFO crash retrieval and back engineering programs. But he won't tell us who they are. He won't provide any details or information. That's another bluff. These people are bluffers. Then we have the bluffer in chief, David Grusch, who's now called a senior advisor. He's no longer special. He's a special senior advisor. Oh, he's special, all right. Yeah. He was the chief operating officer. What happened to that? Why did they change his role, right? And I love it. So I don't know who these two guys are. Sound like wackadoos to me. I'm vaguely familiar with Jonathan Berkty because of some of my AI endeavors. And I can tell you that he does have an AI company, but that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to say anything disparaging about his AI company or his piss-poor garbage research. And that's my opinion, and I'm entitled to it, having been involved in computer science my whole life. So we've got, okay, so how many people have been caught lying on this page so far? Gary Nolan's been caught lying. Dave Grusch has been caught lying. Tim Gillette, this is the guy who's trying to start his own UFO organization and wants to get government funding, right? Kevin Newth, I don't really know him, but I know he presented a completely and totally evidence-free story. And the fact that he's a professor of physics and he just made physics claims about like the speed at which objects were going in the story he was telling and provided zero data or evidence is very, very troubling. I don't know who this Jeffrey Cripple is. I do know that Avi Loeb lied to everybody and claimed that Oumuamua, you remember that, was an interstellar spaceship. That all turned out to be bullshit, but he's still selling the book on Amazon, making completely and totally false claims that have been proven by a large preponderance of real scientists, not wackadoos like Avi Loeb. Then there's Diana Pasulka, who is also a UFO profiteer. She has been going on secret missions with Gary Nolan to crash retrieval sites, so secret that they have to blindfold her. Come on, with the James Bond nonsense. And of course, most of what Diana Pasulka does is just speculation and theoretical maybes, hope-sos, and possibilities. She's got no evidence. Then we have Jacques Vallée, who is a proven liar, who got caught selling a completely and totally fake book about the fake Trinity UFO crash that never happened. And he got that story from proven scammer hoaxer William Brophy. So it's not looking so good. I don't know who this girl is, so I'm not going to comment on her. But we've got 1, 2, I don't know. I'm not going to call Diana Pasulka a liar because I haven't caught her lying. But we definitely have Jacques Vallée, proven UFO profiteering, lying scumbag. When you find out that you've been selling a book for a few years and then the whole story of the book comes crashing down as a complete and total fake fraud hoax, and you just keep selling the book and double down that it wasn't a hoax when it was, then you're a lying scumbag. Avi Loeb, same thing. It's okay to have a theory and put it in a book, but wouldn't it be a good idea that you pull the book once you find out that your fundamental theory in the book is completely and totally wrong? Avi Loeb also, doesn't he also have some kind of organization he's trying to get funding for? And Jacques Vallée has been a UFO profiteer for how long now? Then we have Tim Gallaudet, right? He's trying to get government funding for his UFO organization. How many UFO organizations do these guys think we need? And they all need funding, right? So we've got proven UFO profiteering scumbag liar Jacques Vallée, proven liar and profiteer Avi Loeb, right? He sees aliens everywhere, and he's still collecting the money from his completely and totally fake theory book. Same for Jacques Vallée. Then we have Tim Gallaudet, who's trying to get money for funding for his own organization. We have Dave Grusch, who made huge claims for 253 days now, never proved anything, but we can prove that he lied about not having mental problems. And we can prove essentially that he lied on the resume that he submitted to Congress. Proven liar. Gary Nolan, proven liar. And this isn't looking good for an organization that's supposed to be about transparency and disclosure to have all these proven liars in their organization. Now, the other people, in fairness, I'm not going to say anything derogatory or negative about them. I don't know them. But given that they're part of this organization, I'm going to go out on a limb here and take a wild guess that they're wackadoos who share this wackadoo belief system of Gary Nolan and Dave Grusch and all these other people. Interesting. So we're going to get into it. We're going to leave my fair use banner up. This is a transformative work. We're educating the public. I love it. The Soul Foundation. And here's another thing. Gary Nolan, PhD, on the material science of UAP. I'm just gonna say it for you stupid people. Gary Nolan is the last person who should be doing any analysis on any material. He's not a material scientist or an engineer or a chemist. He is an immunologist. It would be like, I don't know. It's like going to, this makes no sense. Having him do materials analysis. Why don't they get a materials scientist to do the materials analysis? Why do they got to use this wackadoo? It doesn't make any sense. It's like trying to get your car worked on at the Burger King. Go to the Burger King manager to get your car worked on. Well, that Burger King manager might know something about cars, but he's not qualified to work on your car. Same thing. Gary Nolan is not a material scientist, so you can't trust anything that he has to say about material science. It's not his field of study or endeavor. He's not educated in material science. So why are we listening to him? And then we've got Hal Puthoff. Great. Hal Puthoff was part of the TTSA techno scam. He was also part of the OSAP scam, which scammed government officials, scammed American taxpayers out of $22 million. How much money did he get from the CIA to study people doing magic tricks and claim they have superpowers? This is the quality of the people that you have here. People who are literally been involved in proven scams before and defrauded the American taxpayers out of how much money? Hal Puthoff was in on the $22 million for OSAP, right? He worked for Bigelow, didn't he? And then we have I love this one. We have Christopher Mellon. And isn't it great? Dave Grusch gives this talk that's largely theoretical. We're going to get into it, right? But Christopher Mellon was part of the TTSA techno scam, along with Hal Puthoff. So is this TTSA 2.0, right? Remember that organization? It made all kinds of promises, and they never delivered on any of their promises. But they did defraud the American public, in my opinion, out of several $1 million. Now we've got the same people that were just involved in a scam defrauding the public out of millions of dollars are speaking at this UFO cult conference, which, by the way, closed doors, invitation only, believers only, because nothing says transparency like essentially locking the doors and saying no one with a skeptical mindset is allowed to hear this shit until we say it's okay. And we monetize it on our YouTube videos, right? Oh, I don't even know if they're monetized. But let's take a listen. Oh, 1 second. They're monetized. If you're a nonprofit, why are you monetizing your YouTube videos? Just asking, right? We're gonna skip some of this. I love Christopher Mellon. He's one of my favorite wackadoos. Right? Rich son of a bitch. God bless him. But he is dumb as shit. This guy is dumb as fucking rocks. Christopher Mellon is. There, I said it. And, you know, I love it. I think it was all these guys venerate him like he's the strategy guy and he's the puppet master behind all of these people. He's the guy. He is the puppet master behind Grusch. He's got his hand up Grusch's ass and controlling who he's allowed to talk to. Right? And that's been proven by Dave Grusch's own emails and Dave Grusch's phone call with Dark Journalist, where he said that he couldn't give an interview to people unless approved by Christopher Mellon. So everybody holds this guy as being like the strategy guy. But look at the strategy. Was he the strategy guy behind the TTSA techno scam? Look how well that went, right?
With evidence of UAP demonstrating capabilities or doing things that violate our understanding of science.
Here we go again. These UAPs and these UFOs violate our understanding of science, or they violate the laws of physics. It's a great talking point, Christopher Mellon. Show us the data. Show us the data. Oh, that's right. He doesn't have any data. So this is just a faith-based belief system. I believe that these things are defying the laws of physics, therefore they are. It's telling. But this is a cult, and cults have faith-based belief systems. You don't need proof or evidence. You just need to have faith and believe.
To my mind, the Nimitz aviators and radar operators and technicians are eminently credible.
This guy's still talking about those TikTok videos. 3 garbage videos he stole from the Pentagon, allegedly, with Lou Elizondo, never meant for public, for public presentation, but they did it anyway, and they collected millions of dollars based on those videos. What do they prove? They don't prove anything. And I think that they've been largely debunked and are nothing burgers. He's still talking about that.
Intelligence community certainly prefers rigorous scientific information whenever possible, but it would be untenable, if not suicidal, for the intelligence or law enforcement communities to limit themselves to robust and repeatable sensor data. We rarely have the luxury of censor information on the intentions of foreign leaders or the precise capabilities of adversary forces, so we do the best we can with what we have.
He's still pushing the UFO threat narrative that he's been pushing since 2017. That's an attempt to get funding.
We should consider the accounts of the Nimitz aviators and radar operators as highly credible evidence of intelligently controlled graft, doing things we cannot emulate and don't understand.
And this is all based on witness testimony, not censor data.
For example, as noted in an earlier presentation, the Tic Tac went supersonic without a sonic boom. It overcame G-forces that would destroy anything built by man. There was no evidence of the plasma that we would normally expect to see at such extreme velocities.
Yeah, this is the same guy who was wrong about the Go Fast video. Remember? They all said that it was doing, what was it? Supersonic speeds. It was going 40 miles an hour. So part of me, if I don't believe this guy when he says that when he makes these claims, because that's all they are. All they are is claims. So Christopher Mellon goes on to rant on about the fantastic Tic Tac UFO case and shit that he stole out of the Pentagon basement. Great. And it proves, those videos prove nothing. I don't care. Send me your hate mail. Those videos prove nothing, period. And if you are skeptically minded and you actually look at the Mick West debunks of those 3 videos, I think he nailed that they're nothing spectacular and could very well be ordinary earthly objects and have a prosaic explanation. But these people just go straight to aliens and straight to these things that defy the laws of physics, and they don't want to hear, you know, any evidence to the contrary, which is problematic. If you're really trying to get to the truth behind something, wouldn't you want all the information, right? I would think that you would, but, you know, that's just me. But these people, they literally lock the skeptics out of their events. Why do they have to do that? Why would you have to lock skeptics out of your event and make it invitation only for believers, right? Why would you have to do that? If you have evidence and it's so good, why can't skeptical people see it? But if you sample all of these videos, they all have something in common. All these soul videos have one thing in common. It's people making huge, fantastic claims and not offering evidence for the huge, fantastic claims that they are offering. And I think that the best example of this is this Kevin Newth. This is a hell of a bunch of claims here. We're going to get into that. And again, fair use. We're citing fair use. This is a transformative work. We're educating the public and critiquing the video. So this is a physicist, a scientist, and he is making absolutely fantastical, out of this world claims, and he doesn't offer any evidence for it.
More remarkably, I talked to veteran David Barnett from New Zealand. He was a sonar operator on the HMNS MZS New Zealand, Southland in New Zealand in November of 1986. This is when JAL Airlines happened, right?
So what he has is a story that somebody told him.
I just realized this. In February, so they were performing exercises where they would leave out of Auckland, head out of the Hauraki Gulf into the Pacific Ocean, and then turn around and come back in, and they were to turn on their sonars to see if they were being followed by unidentified submerged objects. And they were followed. They would do this several times a day for weeks. And many times they were followed back in, usually by 1 or 2 small USOs that did not have propeller wash, so they couldn't identify what they were.
There's a huge claim. An unidentified submerged object with no propeller wash, so they couldn't identify what the object was. Well, that's a pretty big claim right there. And this is a physicist making these claims.
And as they got back into the Gulf.
Where is the sensor data that confirmed there was no propeller wash of this object being discussed?
The USOs would usually take off. In one occasion in February, they were followed by a large USO which beamed about 150 feet wide. And when they finally made a sharp turn where they had to bank at about 45 degrees at 20 some knots, they were able to get a view from it from the side, and it was 800 feet long. It's about 30% longer than a Typhoon class submarine. This is a big craft, and it was following them. And it did not break away once they got to the
800 feet wide craft.
Hauraki Gulf. So they maintained top speed. They made some more turns to try to shake it. And when they did this, the 800-foot USO closed the distance of 20 kilometers. It was 20 kilometers behind them. It closed that distance in about 30 seconds, went under their ship, and...
Wow, great story. What is the evidence? Trust me, bro.
Killed all the power. The ship lost power, the batteries drained. They were basically adrift and couldn't call for help. And they had to wait.
And by the way, there would be paperwork of an event like that. Where's the paperwork? There is none. A little bit suspicious. So what he's got is a story somebody told him. And this is supposed to be a man of science who is making absolutely fantastical wackadoo claims of unknown submersible objects doing 1,500 miles an hour under the water. Do you know what it would take to get any object to do 1,500 miles an hour under the ocean? You know, this is where things get stupid for me. You know, like at some point you have to say, but I always think that these stories are designed this way, right? Oh, it was doing 1,500 miles an hour. What's your source for it doing 1,500? Trust me, bro. Well, great. This is just another unverified, uncorroborated, unverifiable story. That's all we get in UFO land. Unverifiable, evidence-free stories, and trust me, bro. And, you know, I hate to say it, I don't know this man. Seems like a nice guy and all, but you're a scientist. Why are you standing on a public stage making these claims without providing any evidentiary support of these fantastical claims? You're a physicist. You should know the amount of energy it would take to propel an object at 1,500 miles an hour under the ocean. I think at some point it goes beyond, you know, the believer brain or being a wackadoo. It's irresponsible for this person to put out this information with no evidentiary support whatsoever.
For 4 hours before they could wave down a fishing boat to be able to call for help and be rescued.
Again, there would be paperwork of a ship failure like that. Where's the paperwork, Mr. Newth?
You can estimate the minimum speed of the USO underwater. The minimum speed is around 1,500 miles an hour.
Oh, it's wrong. It's 1,500 is the minimum speed that this object was doing. The top speed is 3,000 miles an hour.
That would assume that you immediately accelerate to 1,500 miles an hour and then cruise under the ship. The minimum acceleration, though, would be one where you accelerate at a minimum rate of 4.5 Gs underwater, but reaching a top speed of about almost 3,000 miles an hour. These things are very strange, and it's really bizarre because just like UFOs don't seem to interact with air, this thing didn't seem to be worried about any water resistance. However, the sonar still worked. And sonar works by a pressure wave hitting the craft and bouncing off. So if a pressure wave can interact with the craft, why isn't the craft seem to be interacting with the water when it's moving? Maybe we're not understanding how they're moving at all, and we've got some work to do here.
Again, these things defy the laws of physics, right? He didn't say these things defy the laws of physics, but with the information he's presenting, yeah, sounds like this thing's defying the laws of physics. And you say that this was tracked on sonar, then there should be sonar data. There should be data of this event that you could show us to prove your claims. We'll never see it. We will never see the data. And this will be just another often repeated story that people are going to repeat this and parrot this story over and over and over again with no evidence, with no evidentiary support. This is what this nonprofit organization is doing, pushing unproven, unverifiable stories that have absolutely no evidence. Just trust me, bro. Somebody told me this story. He was on the ship. Where's the guy? Let me interview him. Let's petition the government that around the craft for all the paperwork on this event. There would be a mountain of paperwork if a ship just suddenly lost power and were adrift for days waiting for rescue. There would be paperwork of that event. Why do we not get the paperwork, Mr. Newth? Or is this just another story in a long line of unprovable, unverifiable, trust me, bro stories from these same people that just keep telling these unproven, unverified, trust me, bro stories, right? You got to love it. And so for the Soul Foundation, I think it's great too. They drop all of these, they drop these videos right after the Grusch story gets blown out of the water as being fake, almost like a defense. Like, let's just feed the true believers some new fake stories. Remember we talked about the Cosmic Con Shuffle? You get caught selling a completely and totally fake story, you just shuffle away, and then you shuffle back in and tell everybody new fake stories and hope everybody forgot that you just got caught. This whole group of people just got caught deceiving the world at large. They just got caught. They've been bluffing that they have all this evidence for 253 days now. And instead of providing the evidence for the claims they made 253 days ago, instead, we get what I just showed you. More unproven, unverifiable fake stories that can't be verified. You know, if the story can't pass the test of falsifiability, meaning I can't prove it's not true, but he can't prove it is true, then the story has no value. No value as far as evidence goes. It's not evidence. It's not proof. It's a story, an anecdote. That's all we get in the UFO world. Anecdotes. Great. And then here's another thing. Dave Grusch, for 253 days now, they've been claiming he has all this evidence and he knows 40 firsthand witnesses. And why doesn't he present some evidence at this event? No, instead, he just waxes poetically, about the philosophical ramifications of alien visitation on Earth and all this nonsense, which is what they do. They never provide the evidence. Oh, instead, let's speculate about interdimensional beings and how they may be shifting between dimensions to get there, right? And by the way, why is Stanford University sponsoring this shit? How much did it cost? Did they pay for the facilities for the day? These are just some questions I'm going to call Stanford and ask. Or does Gary Nolan just get to use university resources to make money with his nonprofit organization, which is against the Stanford Code of Ethics? So again, I'm going to have some ethics questions for Stanford University. Why are they hosting? Why would Stanford University host a bunch of people who literally have been accused of running a techno scam? Why would they host that at their prestigious university? Do they know, Gary Nolan, that some of your speakers, and you, by the way, were involved with what has been described as a techno scam around UFOs and aliens? Why would they let you use university halls to host people that have been involved in techno scams? It makes no sense to me. And I would think that would be against the Stanford Code of Ethics, but we're going to call them and find out. And by the way, I'll be recording those calls and sharing them on our Patreon. Praise the cash, bitches. I love it. Leading experts from academia and government to initiate serious, responsible, and cutting-edge inquiry into the phenomenon. Why don't you tell the truth that the meeting assembled UFO profiteering whores, liars, scammers, and grifters? That's who you're hosting, Soul Foundation. People who've been caught lying for money around UFOs. People who've been caught scamming to get money around UFOs. People who literally ran what has been described as a techno scam and defrauded the American public out of millions of dollars. And you're hosting them, Gary Nolan, right? You're hosting them and you're saying they're leading experts. You mean leading scam artists, leading con artists and grifters that sell fake stories about UFOs and aliens for money? Why don't you at least be honest in your material? Here's the grifter of the year. We have two people here, Christopher Mellon and Dr. Hal Puthoff, who were part of TTSA, which scammed the American public out of millions of dollars and never delivered on their promises. Where'd all that money go? Who knows? Let's have them be part of our organization, though. It's great. And they host this at a school of engineering, sponsored by the Nolan Laboratory. Why is the Department of Pathology at Stanford University hosting a bunch of UFO scamming grifters and people who ran techno scams? Oh, I'm going to have a lot of questions, Gary Nolan, for Stanford University.
I assume that's a yes. Okay.
This dude needs to get some sun.
So I'm going to have a few minutes of remarks, and then there'll be certainly time for question and answer after my couple minutes. I know I'm between you and I assume a wonderful dinner, so I understand I'm the last guy between you and that, so I will try to keep it brief and then open it up for questions. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining me
And they
today
didn't post the question
here
and
at the
answer
first
period.
annual Soul Foundation Conference. I'm hoping that you took a lot away from these last 2 days. And we're here to discuss a matter of great significance, government transparency regarding unidentified anomalous phenomena.
Yeah, notice they want government transparency, but Dave Grusch won't give any transparency. He won't post his DOPSR requests unredacted, so he's not being transparent. He won't answer questions about how much money he's making around UFOs, so he won't answer questions. He will not provide transparency, but he wants the government to. You'll notice that that is a running theme with all these so-called disclosure advocates. They all want transparency, unless you start wanting transparency about their wallets.
UAP. The veil of secrecy surrounding this subject, has captured our collective curiosity far too long, and it's time for profound change.
Yeah, you could end the veil of secrecy. Name your 40 first-hand witnesses to alien spaceships on Earth, Dave Grusch. That would be transparent. Oh, that's right. Transparency only applies to our demands on the government. It doesn't apply to us.
In a world where information is power, the transparency of our government and its allies, holds the key to unlocking these truths that lie beyond our current public understanding. Imagine a future where we no longer need to speculate about our place in the cosmos.
Again, philosophical ramblings, no evidence. This guy's got 40 firsthand witnesses, but instead of showing us any evidence from those 40 firsthand witnesses, he's just going to wax poetically about our place in the universe, kind of like how Lou Elizondo said nothing for years and years and years of podcasts and offered no evidence, but he too would wax poetically about our place in the universe and what a profound change the discovery of alien life would be, right? Same shit, different front man.
Shadows of uncertainty are dispelled by the light of disclosure. The impact of revealing information on UAP crash retrievals and associated activities would be nothing short of revolutionary, and I assume all of us can agree to that point.
Yeah, so why doesn't he release all the evidence that he claims that he has? Why don't you release the list of the 40 first-hand witnesses and let's see their evidence? Why don't we do that? These people talk about a government cover-up. We've got Ross Coulthard claiming he knows where an alien spaceship is on Earth. We've got George Knapp claiming that he knows where the smoking gun evidence and proof of alien visitation on Earth in the form of element 115 is, but he can't show it to us. Ross Coulthard can't show us the alien spaceship that's so big they had to build a building around it. And this clown claims that he's got 40 first-hand witnesses to alien crash retrievals on Earth, alien bodies, alien spaceships. But instead of showing us that evidence, he's just going to talk. That's all these people are. All talk, no evidence. I don't know. I'm getting sick of these people.
First and foremost, embracing transparency on UAP matters is an affirmation to our commitment to truth and openness.
Yeah, truth and openness, except for us, right? Oh, wait a second here. Interesting that they all want transparency, but they won't provide any transparency for their claims. He won't provide any details. 253 days now, Dave Grusch, you've been telling stories fed to you by the same old group of grifting scumbags that have been profiting from this genre for, years, in some cases, decades. And that's what you've got. Stories from your friends, people like Travis Taylor, Eric Davis, Hal Puthoff, Jacques Vallée, all the same people telling you all the same bullshit. That's why he can't show you the evidence, because then we're all going to go, oh, all your witnesses are wackadoos that never prove shit. Awesome.
It's a declaration that we, as a society, are ready to confront the unknown and unravel the mysteries that have perplexed us for decades.
He
This
could unravel.
willingness
He could unravel the mystery. Show us your evidence.
to confront the enigma not only builds trust.
And you know, I really think that all of us should start calling the bluff on these people. They all claim they have all this evidence, but yet they can't show it to us. Isn't that a little convenient while they're running around filling their pockets with every UFO dollar they can? Oh, how many of these people have organizations now? We've got Ryan Graves' organization. We have this William, the guy speaking at this conference, the former Rear Navy Admiral. He's got an organization. We've got the Soul Foundation. Abby Loeb's got an organization, right? Everybody wants money for UFOs, but nobody will show us their evidence. And yet they want transparency and disclosure.
Between the government and its citizens, but also sets a precedent for a new era of accountability.
Where's the accountability of a man who would make out of this world claims for 253 days now and yet provide no evidence? Isn't that irresponsible to make outrageous claims and not provide any evidentiary support of your outrageous claims? I think so.
The release of information on non-human intelligences has the potential to unite humanity in
Oh, here we go again. Same old speech. Oh, it would unite humanity. We'll get free energy. We'll live in a utopian society when our space brothers' technology helps us create a perfect utopia on Earth. All the same shit that these guys have been saying for decades.
shared quest for understanding, regardless of the ontological shock.
Where's the shock? You know, if you really want to ontologically shock people, show them proof of your claims. I agree. If he had smoking gun evidence or proof of his claims, people would be shocked. But so far, I'm not feeling very shocked by people telling the same stories, recycled and repeated, rinse and repeat for decades now.
No longer bound by the limitations of national borders, we would embark on a collective journey of discovery, transcending political distances or differences, and fostering a sense of global unity.
Oh, same old talking points. Yeah. Just like Ronald Reagan said, if there was a threat from outside our universe, how quickly our differences would disappear. How many people have ripped off that idea from Ronald Reagan? They all say this shit. Oh, yeah, when disclosure comes, we're going to have to get together as the people of Earth and all the wars will stop. And it's always this grandiose, utopian, idealistic view of what would happen, right?
The realization that we are not alone in this vast universe could serve as a powerful catalyst for international cooperation, reminding us of our shared destiny as inhabitants and stewards of the Earth.
Exactly Ronald Reagan's talking points.
Moreover, imagine the technological advancements that could stem from broad study.
And what did I talk about? Oh, we'll get free energy, we'll get propulsion technology, we'll get medical technology. Yeah, same old talking points.
The integration of this kind of technology into our scientific knowledge could propel us to the future with unprecedented innovation, shaping industries, improving our quality of life. It's not just about knowing, it's about the potential to revolutionize our understanding of physics, biology, and chemistry.
Exactly my point. A utopian world. When we recognize and understand that we're not alone in the universe, we'll get a utopian world. This is David Wilcock level bullshit.
And other foundational sciences. Releasing this information in a controlled, planned manner, such as Carl Nell has discussed during the conference, as with the Schumer Amendment, has profound implications on our philosophical and spiritual perspectives.
Again, this is all just philosophical ramblings. You're in a room full of true believers. Well, he's virtually in a room, whatever. Why would he not show evidence of his claims, at least to the true believers? But he can't, and he won't for 253 days. No evidence whatsoever. But he's going to wax on poetically and philosophically about the implications of all this. Same thing that Elizondo did for years.
Acknowledgement of
Speak, but don't say anything.
otherworldly intelligences challenges our very concept of existence encouraging us to reconsider our place in the grand tapestry of the universe.
Where have we heard that before? We're going to have to reconsider our place in the universe once we recognize that there's other intelligent species out there in the universe.
It's an important and profound introspection and a catalyst for a new era of spiritual awakening.
Oh, spiritual awakening. This is literally David Wilcock, ascension bullshit. There's no difference between David Wilcock and David Grusch. Both of them tell alien stories and never provide any proof or evidence. This is Corey Good, David Wilcock level of bullshittery.
In conclusion, this movement ignited in December 2017 with Leslie and Ralph's famous article in the New York Times.
Now he's quoting the fake New York Times article that falsely said that Lou Elizondo ran a $22 million funded UFO program for 10 years. That article was completely and totally factually wrong. No, Lou Elizondo never ran a funded UFO program. Full stop. He's quoting an article full of lies to support his delusional belief system here. If you've got to quote an article that has been proven to be completely and totally factually inaccurate and manipulated and wrong to support your belief system, that should tell you that your belief system is extremely and totally flawed, because your belief system is built on a house of cards made of lies. I've said it before. I'm going to say it again. How many people keep quoting that article as oh, this really spearheaded the conversation? So you started the conversation with a bunch of lies, and that's a good thing somehow? That's not a good thing. I've never seen a conversation started with a big bunch of lies that end it well. But okay.
Is not merely a matter of government transparency. It's a paradigm shift that holds the power to reshape our world. By embracing the unknown, we open ourselves to a future where truth, unity, and technological advancements and a deeper understanding of our existence converge.
So we're going to get the truth out of a bunch of people who provably lied to everybody. Ralph Blumenthal and Leslie Kean lied to everyone in that New York Times article. Lou Elizondo lied to everyone in that New York Times article. So this guy is saying that we're going to get to the truth. And in order to get to the truth, we have to base our truth on a bunch of proven lies. You see the problem with this?
Let us advocate for transparency, not for ourselves, but for the generations to come.
Not for ourselves. Yeah, we don't want to be transparent.
As we embark on a journey toward a more enlightened and interconnected world. Thank you.
Oh, I guess there is a Q&A period. I apologize. Same speech we've heard out of how many UFO guys. What a great utopian world it will be when we achieve disclosure. Nonsense.
Who dares to ask the first question? Okay,
well, the other thing is this whole thing with the questions is a joke, because it's a curated audience full of true believers. Nobody's going to challenge Dave Grusch with real or hard questions.
I know. Hi, Dave. I was wondering if you could comment on how far you think the United States or indeed other countries have got with the reverse engineering program, and have we got to fly these machines? Are they flyable?
Oh, so somebody's asking him how far we've gotten with the reverse engineering programs. And what we're going to get is a bunch of words and speculation and no evidence or proof. So who cares what he thinks?
I'm getting a little bit of double feedback. Do I need to mute my mic to hear it clearly?
Yeah, these bunch of super geniuses can't work a fucking StreamYard, right? They can't work a fucking virtual guests, but they're gonna bring us unlimited free energy and technology. They can't work a goddamn microphone. these group of super geniuses at Stanford University. Awesome.
Should I ask the question again, Dave?
I need to mute my mic, let me know. I was just getting like a reverb.
Let me know if you heard. Should I ask it again, Dave?
Oh, that sounds better. Okay.
Okay. I was wondering, Dave, if you could comment on how far the United States has got, or indeed other countries, in the reverse engineering program, and whether we've managed to fly these machines, and are they viable?
Yeah, a lot of that I can't answer publicly.
Boy, somebody needs a producer. This is an organization full of wackadoos. Nobody knows how to work a microphone, apparently.
You know, a lot of it has been integrated in another U.S. Conventional classified program. All I at this point.
So he dodged the question.
Thank you, David, for everything.
Why would he dodge the question? He's talked to 40 witnesses. He should know how far along they've gotten in the reverse engineering program. He talked to 40 witnesses that were all part of those programs. But he has to dodge the question, claiming it's classified?
Yeah, I'm curious to know why you did what you did in coming forward and putting yourself up above the parapet and becoming a target. It's incredibly brave and inspiring.
So this lady's just licking his asshole. You're such a brave hero coming forward like this and telling stories with no evidence.
Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of introspection and reflection to make a decision to come forward. You know, part of my looking into this subject and, you know, reporting my findings to the Inspector General, you know, I look back at my, you know,
Again, the Inspector General, he's saying, I reported my findings to the Inspector General. The Inspector General is not investigating any of his alien or UFO claims. Full stop. So who cares, right? So there's always some convenient excuse for why Dave Grusch can't show us the evidence. Oh, I gave it to the Inspector General, who doesn't care about your alien and UFO stories.
After 14 years in the Air Force, I looked at two of my core values that the Air Force espouses, you know, integrity first, service before self, and excellence in all we do. And that may sound, you know, hokey to many, but I really, you know, believe in that. And that's why I signed up to serve when I was a freshman in college 18 years ago. I didn't want to, besides living those core values, I did not want to look back 30 years from now when I'm an older man.
Oh, I can't even listen to any more of this. All right, I think we've heard enough, friends. So what we have here is a bunch of philosophical ramblings from a bunch of wackadoos, and they don't have evidence. So, you know, I'm left going, what is the deal here? We want to thank High Speed Chase for a kind and generous $5 super chat, who says, why do all these wackadoos look like Star Wars characters? Good point. Thank you for being a member, and thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. We have VTR. Not just Grusch, but these X-Space influencers are also propagating UFO BS. Well, yeah, because it's very profitable. It's very profitable right now to push UFO BS. But thank you for the kind and generous $4.99, and thank you, High Speed Chase, as well. We appreciate the kindness, generosity, and support, and those of you helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, 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 cash, praise the cash.
Thank you very much. So what we really have here is two UFO cults, and I think it's interesting how many parallels are we can see between the Grusch and Gary Nolan UFO cult. Very similar belief systems to the Raelians and very similar tactics. In order to get publicity for themselves, they go in front of Congress and make outrageous false claims, hoaxes, essentially. We know that for sure in the case of the Raelians, and I believe we're going to know it for sure in the case of David Grusch very soon. And isn't it interesting that Kirkpatrick comes out and basically busts their grift? There's no witnesses that actually have evidence, despite all of the bluffed claims that have been made for almost a year now. In a little over 3 months, it will be a year of Grusch making these claims. And so far, he has not proven any of his claims, none of them. He has provided zero evidence, unless you count talking about fake hoax UFO cases that were given to him by Lou Elizondo, who also talked about the same fake Mussolini garbage case that is a hoax. And we know it's a hoax because well-known UFO hoaxer extraordinaire William Brophy was involved in all the details about the Vatican conspiracy and the government picking it up and taking it back. That was all provided by William Brophy, a known UFO grifting scumbag, profiteer, hoaxer, proven hoaxer, who, by the way, was also involved with Jacques Vallée's proven UFO hoax. So it's a big club, and I ain't in it. So, I just wanted to do this tonight. I highly encourage you to watch that Raelian UFO cult documentary and not see all the similarities and parallels between the Raelian UFO cult and this Dave Grusch, Gary Nolan cult. There's very little difference between them. They both believe in aliens from outer space visiting us here. They both make fantastical claims, including making fantastical claims on the record in front of Congress, sworn testimony. They're both made fantastical claims. Both of them, both organizations have made fantastical claims in front of Congress with no evidence whatsoever. Yeah. High Speed Chase is here. Thank you for being a member, and the kind and generous $5 says, Stephen, all these damn Wookiee spankers. Too much crap in the world. Yeah, Dave Grusch and Gary Nolan are definitely Wookiee spankers. I'm not even sure if we've defined that term, but I think it fits, right? If the shoe fits, those guys look like Wookiee spankers to me.
Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash, cash. Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash, cash. Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash, cash. Praise the cash, praise the cash, praise the cash, cash.
Praise the cash, bitches. All right. We thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. So I highly encourage you to watch this Raelian UFO documentary. And by the way, you stupid people who keep messaging me saying, well, Congress wouldn't let him testify if this wasn't true. Well, they let another UFO cult testify about literally creating a human clone, and they didn't create shit. It was all a made-up fake story. And, but from the human level, I really do feel bad for Dave Grusch, because the longer this goes on, the more I'm becoming convinced that this group of UFO profiteering whores, the same people involved in the TTSA techno scam and the fake 2017 New York Times article, all of these people have manipulated this man into repeating their stories, with trust me, bro. That's all we've gotten from Dave Grusch so far. Oh, no, the government's in possession of alien technology. Great, show us the evidence. No, I can't. You're just going to have to trust me, bro. Well, if their extraordinary claims in Congress get proven false, they'll get charged with contempt. No, they won't. Were the Raelians charged with contempt, crypto alchemists? No, they weren't. Do you know how rare it is for anybody to be charged with contempt of Congress or with lying under oath, perjury to Congress? It almost never happens, even in clear-cut cases, right? And yeah, the documentary is on Netflix. I'm going to hold on one second. I will share my screen. The name of the documentary. It's called Rael, the Alien Prophet. And it is on Netflix right now. I thought it was a pretty fascinating look at how a group of UFO enthusiasts can basically make millions of dollars. This is another thing. People tell me, oh, there's no money in UFOs. This guy's collected hundreds of millions of dollars with his UFO cult. Why couldn't some of these other UFO cult leaders equally collect millions of dollars? They have. In the case of Stephen Greer, David Wilcock, we could show you clear-cut evidence that they've collected millions of dollars from their followers. So it's called Rael, the Alien Prophet. It's available on Netflix right now. It'll probably be on the other streaming services after Netflix has the exclusive for a while. At least that's what I have been seeing. So interesting that I just loved when I was watching this documentary when they showed Rael and his science head making fantastical claims of, in front of Congress with no evidence whatsoever. That is exactly what Dave Grusch did. He made fantastic, out-of-this-world claims with absolutely no evidence whatsoever. Spooky correctly pointing out psychology is a UFO cult, and they have $100 billion. Yeah, they really do have a lot of money. So for anybody to suggest that there's not a lot of money in the alien and UFO believer world, you're just completely and totally wrong. Jonathan Pham is here and says, I bet Tom DeLonge wishes he never released that book of his. If he wasn't famous, they would have dealt with him in a different way. I agree. Patty Wilhelm says, Alien Prophet with an F. Yeah. Jonathan Pham says, there's no such thing as aliens from far space. Name one video game that has an infinite amount of space to traverse. Name one video game. What is that? Falling Skies? Not Falling Skies. No Man's Sky. Isn't that? That's got an infinite amount of space to traverse. Yeah, I lost a friend over that game. He was so into that game, and I was like, this game is stupid, and it sucks. And he got so mad at me, he like unfriended me on Facebook or something. He hasn't talked to me in years because I said that game sucked. I think it's No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is an artificial universe where you can visit like a seemingly endless amount of alien worlds, but it's boring as shit. All you're doing is running around collecting rocks and shit, right? Go Kicks Rocks is here and says, you did it again. One of your best shows, man. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And yeah, we've been doing really well here. And I want to thank all the new subscribers. Listen, if you're tired of people just telling you fake stories and never providing the evidence, then you've come to the right place, because here we want to see the evidence. And, and by the way, just to be clear, I've never said that I don't believe in life on other planets. I do. I just look at the vastness of the universe, and I look at the amount of exoplanets that have already been discovered. And I just always have thought that it would be such a tremendous waste of space. Number of exoplanets. We've already discovered 5,573 confirmed exoplanets in 4,146 planetary systems, with 942 systems having more than one planet. Most of these were discovered by the Kepler Space Telescope. So isn't that interesting? 5,500 exoplanets already discovered. If you're a betting man, and by the way, they just started being able to detect exoplanets. Some say it's going to be up to 10 or 20,000 exoplanets discovered within the next year or two. So interesting that there's going to be that many exoplanets. One of them's got to have life. And, people get pissed at me and, what are you saying? UFOs aren't real? That's another one I get all the time. No, UFOs are definitely real. Unidentified flying objects. There's always going to be something flying in our skies that we're unable to identify. So yes, I do believe in UFOs. They are real. The problem that I have is all these people pushing aliens and making false claims of these things defy the laws of physics, but they never prove those claims. And it's like Eric Weinstein said, show me a physicist that says these things defied the laws of physics. And I don't mean this wackadoo Newth, because he just showed that he has no evidence. He's just going by a story somebody told him. That's not evidence. Anecdotes are stories, What if they're lying and there aren't planets? When Bigfoot comes in spirit form, he comes in a ball of light. The Native Americans say some of their relatives become the stars when they die. Need a panel celebration for all of the new subscribers. Yes, we are going to be doing that. And Spooky kindly made a thumbnail for it. I'll share it in a moment. Stumbled upon your channel a couple of days ago. Really enjoy your content. Thanks for all you do. Well, thank you. The only Oz Angel. Is that like Ozzy Osbourne? You a big Ozzy Osbourne fan? I sure am. I've been playing Ozzy albums so much lately. That and Peter Gabriel. I don't know why. Peter Gabriel, by the way, happy birthday to singer-songwriter Peter Gabriel, founding member of Genesis, one of my favorite songwriters. It's his birthday today, February 13th. And he's got a new album out called I.O., which I can't recommend strongly enough. It's just a great album from beginning to end. It's got some of the old school 80s and 90s feel to it, but still got some modern stuff going on in it. Haven't enjoyed, every once in a while, I catch up to an artist that I like, right? I will go, find a new album that somebody has done. And I got to tell you, I was so sort of like, I don't know what my expectations were. First of all, this Peter Gabriel album is brilliant because he basically recorded and released one song every full moon for a year. And that's just cool. Like, I'm going to release a song on the full moon, the evening of the full moon. That's just awesome. And then he put it all together into a collection, and there's several different mixes of this album, bright side, dark side. I hear there's going to be a couple other sides. I don't know. The mixes are very, very similar, though. It's not like Nine Inch Nails remixes. But anyway, I highly recommend that. And the Only Oz Angel, thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. And Lucy Day gifted 5 Truthseekers memberships. This right here, my friends, is why you should subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, because people have been gifting memberships all the time lately. And what happens is YouTube will randomly give away those gifted memberships to people who are subscribers to our channel here, but not yet channel members. And for those unaware, we have a YouTube channel membership. It's $5 a month. You get the same member benefits that I put on Patreon, but you get a couple of extra YouTube goodies like those membership badges and priority reply and things like that. So we appreciate both of you for your kindness, generosity, and support, and for helping us to praise the cash.
Praise the cash, 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 cash, praise the 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 cash, cash, praise the 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 cash.
We're praising it tonight. Thank you, Lucy Day. Lucy is the MVP of gifted memberships. And by the way, I just want to take a moment to thank you, Lucy Day, because so many people have kind of lost track of how many memberships Lucy Day has gifted, but so many people got a free membership and they come to me and they thank me. And I always say, don't thank me, thank the person who gifted you the membership. And that would probably be Lucy Day lately. So thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. VTR says, if there is life, it's not advanced, perhaps microbial. We don't see any intelligent artifacts with the most powerful telescopes. Yeah, but I believe that we may someday. For all we know, I remember I talked to one astrophysicist once, and he believed that there is life elsewhere in the universe, but because of the laws of chance and, all the right ingredients in the Goldilocks zone, it's extremely rare. And it's even rarer that there is intelligent life. I think that they're going to discover at least microbial or primitive life forms somewhere in the universe within the next 10 years. The telescope advancements are ridiculous lately. And we thank you, Jonathan Pham, for a kind and generous $1 super chat. Thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. It's very, very well appreciated. No message, but we thank you for kindness.
Praise the cash, 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 cash.
Praise the cash. Thank you for your kindness. We appreciate that, Jonathan Pham. So I'll take some comments and questions from the live chat. Please put them in all capital letters. Talmit, thanks for being a member, says the universe is big. I'm not surprised we haven't seen anything yet. Yeah, this astrophysicist I once talked to seemed to think that maybe there was one intelligent species in each galaxy. And I asked him how he arrived at that, and he started talking about math, and I just kind of zoned out, so I wasn't able to really comprehend how he got to that figure. But it would make sense. What if there's hundreds of thousands of planets in an average galaxy? Well, in one of those rolls of the dice, just like here on Earth, all of the building blocks of life were there. And it was within the Goldilocks zone, not too hot, not too cold, distance to the sun. All the dials are turned right, and certain throws of the dice with certain planets that they can develop not just life, but complex and intelligent life will evolve on some of those planets. I'd like to believe, certainly, that there are intelligent species besides us, right? Yeah, we tend to stay away from that. Some subjects we don't want to delve into, right? Daniel Evans is here and says, I figure it's why they travel to other dimensions when needed, right? And self-licking ice cream cones. I love that user ID, says, agreed. Little purple polyps, yes. Little green men, no. Yeah. And Garage G says, Lucy is awesome, and I would tend to agree. High Speed Chase says, have a great night. We're trying. I'll be back, by the way, tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. In the meantime, sometime this week or maybe weekend, I have to see what we have planned. But one of the things that we have planned to get in for this week is I promised I would do a panel show when we got to 10,000 subscribers. So sometime, I said, coming up this week, a panel show celebrating 10,000 subscribers. And these are, somebody asked who's on the panel. It's an open panel, which means, oh, I hate when I do that with the background. I apologize. It's an open panel, which means anybody is free to join the show. So for this one, don't just listen to the show. Don't just watch the show. Call in and connect with us and be a member of the panel. Be on the show. Don't just watch. Don't just listen. Be on the show. This is your invitation to do so. And I'll have some fun things to share during this, but mostly it'll just be an open panel, open topic show to thank everybody for their kindness, generosity, and support of the show and helping us to get to those magic numbers. Stormcrow says, Armstrong's poops have evolved and they are now in charge of the LARP fleet. Okay. Yeah, when is the Black Vault invasion? Well, here's what happened. For those unaware, yes, we are going to have John from the Black Vault here, and we've called it Me Invading the Black Vault. Hold on, I'll show you that one. Let me share my screen for that one. That's going to be a great show. One of my there's 3 guests that people ask me to bring here all the time. But they're all 3 of them are very busy guys that are doing their own thing. One of them is John from the Black Vault, one is Stephen Greenstreet, and one is Mick West. Those are the 3 most requested guests we get. And we try. I do my best. We try to give people what they want to see, but you have to remember that these are very busy guys. So me and John try to do it, but then today it snowed all day, and my children were home for virtual school. And for those unaware, I have a nonverbal autistic child, and you can't just leave him on a laptop. He won't do it. So I was busy with my kids all day today. We have to reschedule it. He can't really do our normal showtime at 9 p.m. He's got kids and family, and I don't blame him. So we're probably going to record that one at 9 a.m. And I haven't decided whether we're going to just go live and do it live, or if we're just going to record it off air and then I broadcast it at 9 p.m. Eastern time. Fat chance of that, Ben Stein. I'm one of his biggest critics. I really don't think he's going to want to sit here and be grilled by me for 2 hours, right? Bill Cooper, Jonathan Pham asks, what do you feel about Bill Cooper talking about UFO crashes where human body parts were found? Well, Bill Cooper made a lot of claims, but he never proved almost anything that he said. And he even later said that he believed that all the alien and UFO stuff that he talked about for many, many years was fake, and that he was a victim of disinformation. Take from that what you will. I don't believe that Bill Cooper was a very credible person. In fact, he got caught stealing material from a lot of other UFO people at the time. He stole material from John Lear, and John Lear fed him completely fake stories, and he ran with them, right? let's petition signals intelligence to grace us. Yeah, I'd like that. And we could use that for a bigger project, right? Bring back Doty. Yeah, I don't think I ever want to do that. First of all, Doty's, more or less a co-host of a show, a garbage disclosure show, who, attacked me, threatened my family. So I'm not feeling very friendly towards Mr. Doty. And I don't believe anything that Doty says. He's about as credible as a crackhead at this point. He's on Gaia TV. Enough said. Daytime lives are a surprise gift, always. Yeah, maybe we'll probably just do it live. Yeah. So we're going to have this show coming up. We just have to schedule it with John. I'm going to try to do that this week, and we'll try to get that one in the books. I'm excited about that one. And just so everybody's clear, when we have John here, I don't believe that anybody has really focused on his whole life story. I think it's a great story. The Black Vault, for those unaware, is the largest depository on the internet of once secret government documents. He's got all the JFK files and all the FBI files and CIA files. It is just a treasure trove of once secret things. And I think that alone is a very interesting story. And I want to delve into the way he created the Black Vault and what drives him to keep doing it. Because how much did you ever fill out a FOIA request? I had to do a few one time, and holy shit, was that hard. And he does thousands and tens of thousands of them. We really want to delve into that. Have I ever looked into the Dark Crystal conspiracy? No. Are you talking about the Jim Henson movie? I liked that as a kid growing up. On my list of things to do is to watch that Dark Crystal series that they released. I missed it entirely. I was a huge fan of Dark Crystal growing up. In fact, that was the movie. That and the David Bowie movie got me into puppets really big. Labyrinth and the Dark Crystal is what started me building my own puppets and things like that. Kind and generous, $2. Shout out to Juice World, aka Honey Ant 999. Well, thank you for your kindness, generosity, and support. It is much, much appreciated. And we thank you for helping us to praise the cash. Praise the cash. All right, friends. So I think we've done our due diligence. I'll be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I really hope that you will be here with us. We want to thank all of you kind and generous benefactors, you Patreon supporters, you PayPal donators, you YouTube channel members, Super Chatter, Super Sticker, PayPal pledgers, Twitch subscribers. We thank all of you for your kindness, generosity, and support. And we thank Simon Fly. I want to thank Spooky for the panel show graphic. We thank all of you. I'll be back tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We also want to thank Simon Fly for these wonderful UFO music videos. He's created his own art form. I remember a while ago, there was an internet personality who claimed there is no new music. Now there is. There's a whole new form of music. It's taking UFO grifters and making songs out of it. That's a whole new art form, and that was invented by Simon Fly. We're happy that he lends us his creative endeavors. It really does make the show better. I love these music videos. So we're going to play you out with one of my favorites of Simon Fly, and that is We Grifters. I'll be back tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope you'll be here with us. So that's all I got for you, friends. Until next time, my name is Stephen Canby, and good night, and God bless all of you.
We grifters, 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 we grifters.
Shape the emerging UAP narrative. Remember those words, folks. Shape the emerging UAP narrative. Remember those words, folks.
I'm an intel guy. 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 I'm an intel guy.
we grifters, 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 we grifters.
Multiple whistleblowers.
Luis Elizondo.
Multiple whistleblowers.
Luis Elizondo.
Multiple whistleblowers.
Luis Elizondo.
Multiple whistleblowers.
Luis Elizondo.
We grifters, we grifters.
Remember those words.
We grifters, we grifters.
Remember those words.
We grifters, we grifters.
Say yes.
We grifters, we grifters.
Say yes.
We grifters, we grifters.
Say yes.
We grifters, we grifters.
Say yes. Say yes.
Luis Elizondo.
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 Masses.
Luis Elizondo.
For the masses.
Luis Elizondo.
For the masses. Yeah. For the masses.
Good troubleshooting. Good troubleshooting. Good troubleshooting. Good troubleshooting.
For
the Soul Foundation.
yeah.
The Soul Foundation.
For the we grifters, grifters. Yeah. We grifters, grifters. For the masses.
We the people have to come together. We the people have to come together.
For the masses.
We the people have to come together. We the people have to come together.
Hi everyone, here and around the world. Tall right, Nordic, tall right, Nordic. Hi everyone, here and around the world. Tall right, Nordic, tall right, Nordic. The tall white extraterrestrials. Nordic, the tall white extraterrestrials. Nordic, the tall white extraterrestrials. Nordic, tall white, Nordic, tall white, Nordic.
UFO disclosure. UFO craft and bodies. UFO disclosure. UFO craft and bodies. UFO disclosure. UFO craft and bodies. UFO disclosure. UFO craft and bodies.
People who might not buy everything you're saying, who are skeptics, has said over and over again, he has no first-hand knowledge. He has no first-hand knowledge. Maybe we shouldn't believe you. When you say you have first-hand knowledge, maybe we shouldn't believe you.
Legally, the fact that we're not alone. We've recovered material and we've recovered documents. And beyond that, the fact that we're not alone. We've recovered material and we've recovered documents. And beyond that, ontologically shocking but also uniting. Any evidence. Ontologically shocking but also uniting. Any evidence. I'm an intel guy. Ontologically shocking but also uniting. Any evidence. Ontologically shocking but also uniting. Any evidence. I'm an intel guy. Daniel P. Sheehan, classified. Daniel P. Sheehan, classified. Daniel P. Sheehan, classified. Daniel P. Sheehan, classified. Crash retrieval operation. Psychological phenomenon. Crash retrieval operation. Psychological phenomenon.
The death of UFO transparency. The death of UFO transparency. The death of UFO transparency. The death of UFO transparency.
transparency. The death of UFO transparency. The death of UFO transparency.